Good morning, everybody. Good morning from Plymouth. Good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you may be in the world. You're very welcome to this presentation focusing on our May intake for the Health and Human Sciences Foundation programme. We'll start with some introductions. My name is Tim Gotzel. I'm Director of Marketing and Admissions for UPIC. And then if we go around our colleagues, Miranda, would you like to go next?
Yes, of course. Welcome, everybody. My name is Miranda Cunningham, and I am the Associate Head of School for Marketing and Admissions for the School of Health Professions within the University of Plymouth.
Thank you, Miranda. Toby, lead us around the UPIC team, please.
Hi there. Thank you so much for the introduction, Tim and Miranda. My name is Toby Joseph Johnson. I'm the Student Experience Manager here at UPIC. I think on the call, I've got my colleagues Jake and Nico.
Hello, yeah, my name is Jake. I am one of the Student Experience Officers here at UPIC, and yeah, I'll pass on to Nico.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nico Staurengi. I'm the Admission Manager here at UPIC.
I believe
Thank you, Nico. We can't forget Dave.
Well. Yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dave Jones. I am the Director of Academic and Student Services here at UPIC.
Thanks, everybody. As you can see from the screen, we've got a packed agenda for the next half an hour or so. We've started with the introductions. We'll briefly take you through all of the other UPIC programs. Dave will describe our student success here at the college. Toby will take us on a virtual tour of the campus and the city of Plymouth, and the student experience team will talk about our accommodation offer as well. Then we have the specialist sections on nursing, and Miranda will take us through the health professions areas. We'll tell you all about our important dates and scholarship offer, describe to you our social media channels, go through some frequently asked questions, share our contact details as well. So that's kind of our schedule for the next half an hour or so, starting with the UPIC programs. So important number to remember here is 3. So we have 3 levels of study and 3 intakes during the year. The levels of study are Foundation, Year 1 and Pre-Masters, and the intake points are in September, where everything that we offer has a start point. In January, most of our programs, many of them have a start in January, and then some have a start date in May, including the Health and Human Sciences Foundation program, and also a host of Pre-Masters programs available in May. So 3 levels of study, and 3 intake points during the year. And student success is really important to us. It's not just about getting numbers into the college. It's about those students progressing successfully through the college into the university and graduating from the university. Dave, would you like to expand a bit on that? Ideally not on mute.
I apologise. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we do get some great student success. Recently, in our academic boards that we ran in January, we had a 95% pass rate, and we're predicting that might go up to 99%. So we do get very good student success from the people who come here. Nearly all of our students progress onto the university. It's 85% plus. We're probably predicting over 90% this year. In terms of where we are, we get large numbers of successful students in the sciences, in law, in healthcare, particularly. First year business students, we have 100% progression rate last year into our first year business modules, and they usually go on and get good outcomes in their degree programs. So we do prepare students very well for life at university. They're successful when they're with us, and they tend to be relatively successful when they get to university as well. We do get equivalent numbers of first-class degrees and 2-1s awarded to UPIC students, and we also get some very good outcomes in our master's programs as well from students coming on to pre-masters. A number of our students have done so well that they've picked up student excellence scholarships from the university, and we're all very proud of these students who do so. So we do get a good amount of success. We don't do anything that shall we say, aids our students. We push them so they achieve on their merit to the levels they're supposed to be achieving at. And so yeah, I think our students do very well when they progress from us to university. One of the things we drum into them is the sense of being an independent learner, and that's being able to go off and research things for themselves. And the conversations I have with faculty such as business or in the science is that students who go to university are very well prepared. I think that's really it, Tim. If there's anything else you've got that I think I can mention.
No, that's great. Thanks, Dave. I think a point well worth reiterating there is that our students get as many first class and upper second class degrees as direct entrance to the university. And when you think that they're joining UPIC from a lower level of study or possibly of slightly lower grades than they would require for direct entry to university, then clearly we're adding value so that they can leave the university with just as good a degree as an international direct entrant. I'll pause there just in case you have any questions. You're welcome to use the chat function as well as we go through if there's anything you would like to ask. But otherwise, I'll pass over to Toby to give you an idea of how the campus and the city looks, what Plymouth is like as a place to live, not just to study.
Thanks, Tim. Can everybody see my screen okay?
We're getting there, I think. Yep, there we go.
Welcome. Welcome to what we call Britain's Ocean City. At the moment, you can see there's, you can see the lighthouse, which I'm sure you've seen on most of our marketing material. What we're looking out from, so we're on my little drone somewhere, what we call the Hoe, which is a really nice area around Plymouth that people come, from different parts of the world to. There's a ferry access that comes all the way from Roscoff and Spain. That comes into this port over here, further south of the city. And when we look in, we can see the University of Plymouth emblem right in the center there. We're looking into the city. If I start here, so I was a previous graduate from the University of Plymouth, and in the past we used to have a marquee that was across this tarmac, and this is where graduations used to take place. You can see the beautiful views. One thing I would say as well about Plymouth as a city is it's a lot warmer, and we tend to say better climate than other parts of the UK. We boast around that. At the moment it's sunny, but we've been getting quite a lot of wintry spells over the last few weeks. It's been raining, as you can imagine. But coming across to the Barbican here, you can see one of Tim's luxury boats by the city. Tim, do you come to the Barbican quite often?
Yeah, absolutely. The Barbican's a lovely area just off the city centre and by the waterfront. I think you can see it in Nico's backdrop and Miranda's backdrop as well. Lots of cafes, restaurants, nice places to visit, gift shops, and you're by the water as well. So just a lovely place to chill on a sunny afternoon.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Miranda, just a question for you. In the city itself, students at some point when they progress to their first and second years, they will be having placement opportunities right around the city, wouldn't they?
They would absolutely, in the city and further afield around, well, certainly for health, allied health professionals around the southwest, which is, a beautiful part of the country.
Thank you. So yeah, right now we're hovering over the actual campus. Anywhere where you can see a red building is a university center. So some teaching might take place in any of these places. As you can see, Cookworthy, childcare. We're currently here. So 4 of us, I believe, are inside this building. This is the International College. And you can see the close proximity between that and the train station. So we're very close to the train station. Here at UPIC, compared to the university, we like to see ourselves as that soft landing. So you may have students who, this is their first time in the UK. They need a bit of hand holding. They need help with their accommodation, settling down, getting in tune with the culture around the UK, what to do, what not to do. The student experience team and myself all put together different programs to ensure that the students experience is paramount, is the most important thing for us. So we're making sure that they get that soft landing and they're comfortable.
Toby, while you're hovering over the station there, worth pointing out what that building is in City
Yes.
Place.
So actually, thank you so much, Tim, for that. Intercity Place is the brand new space. So Miranda, I'm sure, and her team have worked in there quite often. It's our new health department. There's different levels all over that building. I think it's about 10 floors or so, isn't it, Miranda?
I'm going to tell you more about that in a second, but I'm actually sitting on floor 8 now in Intercity Place, looking out at the beautiful scenery. Yes.
Plymouth's Halo, it's called, isn't it?
If you say so.
Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, we're just hovering across the campus right now. There's different facilities here. Students will have the opportunity to study in any of these buildings, as well as inside the college, and use all the services available to you. What I'll do is I'll just show a little brief look of what it looks like in an accommodation hall. So this is inside the accommodation on campus, and this is what the room looks like. In some of them, they have ensuite facilities, so you can't quite peek into the bathroom here, but that would be the bathroom. You got the exit here. I think if you come into this building, it gives you more of a space, social space in there. So we're in the Gilwell house now. You can see there. You can see the kitchen. Got a little sink. Yeah, all the various amenities needed to make yourself, really comfortable from an accommodation point of view.
And worth pointing out that all of this accommodation is very close to the university campus, close to the Intercity Place building, close to the city centre and all of the facilities there, and to the waterfront as well. Plymouth is a very compact city and it's very easy to get around. So students live where they study and where they work, which is right next door to all of the different facilities as well.
Yeah, as well as the shopping centers. So everywhere here that I'm circling over with my cursor is the city center. So you'd have your high street banks, you'd have shopping, from Drake Circus, which is our shopping mall. In there, you'd have, various brands from Apple to H&M, all your well-renowned brands. And on the high street here, you'd have, quite a few local shops. There's an international street called Cornwall Street that has loads of different restaurants and markets from different nationalities. So you can get a little bit of what you have back home here as well. So just to make you as comfortable as possible and your students as comfortable as possible. Right. What I'll do is I'll put a link to the virtual tour in the chat. So feel free. I believe it's a very useful conversion tool, as well as a pre-departure tool for any of your students when they start making their journeys to Plymouth. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Toby. Just going back to my share screen again. Okay. Jake, do you want to take us through the accommodation offer?
I can. So the good thing about Plymouth is there is lots of accommodation available for all the students. As it can say, it's on the slide as well. The campus is slap bang in the middle of a city, so it's perfect. So a lot of the accommodations that you can choose from are just a 5 to 10 minute walk from your accommodation to the campus. There is lots of rooms available. So ensuite rooms, rooms with 7-10 people in it, and houses with 7 to 10 people in it. So there's loads of different variations of houses you can go through. We do on our website actually have a link to book accommodation, so that is with Clever Student Lets. So if you go to the accommodation tab on the website, you can fill out the form and send a query, a form out to Clever Lets, and they can start the process of booking you an accommodation. Some of the good things about living in Plymouth The accommodation is a lot cheaper than places like Liverpool, Manchester, London. So £100 a week, which is really good. As it says, the stats on the screen as well. So it is a young university. It is the top 15 safest UK cities in the UK. So it is a very safe city to live in. And like you can see the online application form on there. It's a very easy process to booking your accommodation too.
Great, thank you very much, Jake. Miranda, more on Intercity Place. We had a brief introduction there from Toby, but let's get some more detail.
Okay, so I think, as we said, Intercity Place is right next to the train station. And it's a building that the university has invested around £33 million in converting the interior to be a state-of-the-art clinical learning environment. So we have 7 floors that are given over to clinical practice, and this is shared with the School of Health Professions and with the School of Nursing and Midwifery. And as you imagine, that investment has created a wonderful learning space for our students, and we endeavour to have our students learning together in these spaces. I mean, I can briefly give you an overview. I think we've got some photographs on that slide, haven't we? You can see the building itself, and then on the top right, I think that's probably the physiotherapy suite. We've also got some optometry equipment down there in the bottom, and then we have a specialist gate laboratory that's particularly used for research. And then you can see that square or rectangular looking table, that's our anatomage table. We have 2 of those tables, and they are state-of-the-art pieces of technology that allow you to look at anatomy and physiology in a very great detail, and they're amazing at bringing anatomy to life. A majority of our students have to acquire some anatomy in their programs, and these are wonderful resources. I think we've got a cafe at the bottom of the building as well, which is a really nice meeting space. On the 4th floor, we've got space for postgraduate study. It's a really nice community environment. Much of their experiential hands-on experience learning would be in this building, but a lot of their learning also is in the rest of the campus. We also have a community flat where we can support our students to think about when they might work in the community. It's not all our clinical work isn't just necessarily in hospitals. We also have a simulation of an ambulance in the building as well for paramedic students. So there's lots of wonderful resources that our students can take advantage of.
Thank you, Miranda. Dave, should you and I go through the nursing programs, and then we'll go back to you, Miranda, for the health profession programs? Yeah, okay. Shall I kick off? So in the area of adult nursing, we have different undergraduate programs and a postgraduate course as well, an MSc in nursing. The UPIC pathway leads into 3 branches of nursing. So not just adult nursing, but also mental health nursing and child nursing as well. So 3 branches of nursing through the UPIC pathway. And then when students get onto a nursing degree, there's a mix of learning through theory and clinical learning as well. So around 50-50. 2,300 hours of theory, 2,300 hours of clinical. Anything we should add to that, Dave?
I think we should also add that we also offer a route into midwifery.
Absolutely, yep.
Which is very similar in its makeup. The students would come and do a 3-semester foundation with us, and then transfer directly into the midwifery course, where they would do a similar amount of clinical and theory. And their clinical work could be in Plymouth, or it could be in other places around the southwest of England. And
the placements are a really important part of this. We mentioned it's about 50-50, theory and placement, clinical-based learning. The placements are supported by practice educators and practice development teams. Teaching and supervision comes from registered nurses and other healthcare professionals. And I'm repeating myself there. We've got the same point twice, but just to emphasize that learning is supported by practice educators, practice development teams. So Placements, half of the programme at undergraduate level, and an absolutely key element. And some in Plymouth, but you can see they're spread over a wider area there. So for different specialist subject areas, from acute care through surgical wards to health visiting, school nursing. The area you can see on the map is probably, 40, 50 miles from one corner to the other. So students will be expected to travel, obviously, for placements, because not everything can be provided in one place. So there will be some local travel required in order to access the placement opportunities. What do you think you need, Dave, to be a successful adult health nurse? I would say compassion.
Yes, the students will need to understand what we call the NHS values, and it's things like compassion, it's things like respect, it's things like being able to treat everyone the same, regardless of the students or the patient's background. We will be able to train the students on that. We do a preparation module which takes all that into account. So if the students are not sure when they arrive about those NHS values, they will certainly be sure by the time they get to the university. They would need, as they say, resilience, patience, and commitment. They would need to have a good sense of timekeeping, because they would have to be on time for the placements, and obviously for their lessons. And they would need, as I said, they would need to be prepared for every day being different.
Yep. Different but not dull. There's endless variations almost, aren't there? So more than 100 nursing specialties to choose from. So lots of different professional development opportunities to pursue, potential different pathways to go down. Okay. Any questions so far on anything we've said about the city, about the accommodation, about the nursing programs? Feel free to use the chat or to raise your hand if you'd like to speak. We'll leave plenty of time at the end for questions as well. Okay, so let's pass on to you then, Miranda. Thank you, to go through the School of Health Professions programs.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, as I said, I'm responsible for the marketing and admissions overview for the school. Tim, could you move the slide on for me, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was just going to set the school within the context, and I think this also helps within thinking about the nursing programs as well. So within the university, we have a number of larger departments, one of which is the Faculty of Health, and you can see that at the top of the slide. And then within the Faculty of Health, we have 6 different schools. The School of Health Professions is one of those schools, and we have a number of sister schools, including School of Nursing, Psychology, etc. We have a body for interprofessional learning that offers lots of opportunities when students are on their programs for them to engage in activities where they work across these professions, which is really reflects what happens in practice. So that's really helpful that we have these sister schools within the university. Tim, could you move the slides on for me, please, again? Thank you. So within the School of Health Professions, just to make you aware that we teach 7 different professions, and you can see them on the left-hand side of the slide. So some of them are potentially more related to medical professions, and some of them more closer related to social care. So we have social work, dietetics, occupational therapy, optometry, physiotherapy, podiatry, and paramedic science. So we teach all of those professions, and if a student is enrolled on one of those programs, they will be taught by people who have clinical experience in those professions. And not only that, we teach from, like nursing, we teach from entry-level programs right through to doctorates and postdoctorates. So I think within our team, one of the largest providers for health professions in the Southwest, and we have both breadth of training and depth in terms of the different academic levels that we can nurture our students through. The ones that are gathered at the bottom there all lead potentially onto registration for those students that come through that particular programme. Tim, can you move me on? Thank you. Yeah, so you know, as I said previously, we have bachelor level programs for all of our professions, apart from optometry, which is now an integrated nationally in the UK. The General Optical Council have moved towards integrated masters as a starting point. So we offer bachelors for 6 of our professions and integrated masters for optometry. I think next slide, please, Tim. Yeah, I think this is important. The other thing to say is about research. We have a strong focus on research. We absolutely believe that evidence-based practice is important, and within the UK healthcare system, evidence-based practice is very important. We need our students to understand evidence-based practice. So that comes from research, and for our students in the School of Health Professions, when they get to the point of their program where they're doing research, we, as much as possible, support them to engage in primary data collection, which means that they are doing their own research. So I'm getting a bit of feedback. I don't know if you guys are. I apologise for that.
Could you please go on mute, because we are getting
Yep.
some feedback. So if you're not on mute, I'm just looking through the participants, see who it might be.
That sounds better.
That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, so we encourage our undergraduates to engage designing research projects, undertaking research projects, which then helps them in practice, because then they understand where the evidence base comes from. That's the important kind of theory practice link that we strongly believe in. And it's nice to know some of our students win awards for their research at conferences. I'm not sure if I had another slide, Tim. Can you move me on?
No, you're done.
Okay, well, yeah.
Anything you'd like to add, though, Miranda? And importantly for our attendees, anything you would like to ask, Miranda?
I mean, we've been working closely together for a very long time, and Sue May, who is also an Associate Head of School for Internationalisation, works very closely with you, and I work closely with Sue, and we really do encourage and support international students into the university, because it diversifies our student population, and we really value seeing them. So I think that's all I've got to say.
Any questions? Okay. Great, we'll move on. Nico, would you like to take us through the important dates for our May intake?
Of course, thank you, Tim. Okay, here you can see all our deadline regarding the intake that will be in May. I mean, some of them in particular, the one on the top, we can exercise some flexibility, but of course we set up some deadline because we want to make sure that your student will have enough time to apply for their visa, get their visa, travel and be here on time to enroll, and then start their lesson without delay, because we don't want them to miss out on too many lessons because they received their CAS or their visa too late. So starting from the top, we got an application deadline for both undergraduate and postgraduate on the 28th of March. And the payment deadline will be the 7th of April. As usual, we will probably be happy to consider payment just after the deadline, as long as we are confident that we can issue the CAS in time for them to arrive here. So we go different CAS issuing deadline according to whether in the country where your student is from, they can only apply for a standard visa. In that case, the CAS deadline is the 14th of April, or priority visa. In that case, we can give them a bit more time so we can raise their CASes until the 28th of April. If your student is from a country where they can also apply for super priority visa, we might be slightly more flexible, so we might raise their CAS just after the 28th of April, because with super priority, if everything goes well, they might get their visa within 24 hours. With regards to the enrollment, our undergraduate enrollment week and induction and orientation week will start on the 5th of May, while the pre-master will be the week after. So they get a week more to get their visas. They have to be here ideally by the 12th of May to start their orientation, induction, and to start enrolling. The teaching for the undergraduate will start on the 12th of May, while for the pre-master student, their first lesson will be on the 19th of May. And finally, the latest enrollment date, again, they are different because for pre-master, the program is shorter, so we really want them to be here from the day one of lesson. So the latest enrollment date for them will be 19th of May, while for undergraduate, which usually they got 2 or 3 semester foundation, we can allow them to enroll until the 23rd of May.
Great, thank you, Nico. Worth mentioning that for the Health and Human Sciences programme, we do have some limits on places. So larger numbers for the nursing programmes, but particularly for physiotherapy, for occupational therapy, for example, the numbers are quite restricted. That essentially is because we need to find placements for all of the students when they progress, and there is a limited number of placements available. From your point of view, that does mean that you ideally will get your students' applications in early so that they will have a chance to be offered a place before we reach any of the caps on the numbers that we have. And once the students are with us, there is some good news, actually better news than you can see from the slide about progression scholarships. So for students who achieve at least 70% academically in their grades of UPIC and have at least an 85% attendance record, there is a progression award which now just yesterday, I think, went up from £2,000 to £3,500. So there's that progression award for students who perform well and attend well at UPIC. And then once they are in the university, there is a series of academic excellence awards sponsored by the Vice Chancellor, and more than 50 of these awards were made last year. So this is on a case-by-case basis. There are no automatic criteria for the academic excellence awards, but a good number of these awards are made, and they are for 50% of the tuition fee, and possibly not just for 1 year, that can be for successive years as a student progresses through the programme. So there's some quite generous news there about scholarships. Social media, I mentioned that we have a YouTube channel which has a lot of videos on now. When we have this recording, we will post it there as well, and follow us too on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. On Instagram particularly, we're busy most days, so that's good for you to see what's going on in the college. You can see details of our social program as well there. Good for you to share with your students, their parents as well, so that you have an idea of what the college life is like. And we're getting close to the end now. We will leave plenty of time for questions, but we know there are some questions which are regularly asked, so we'll do a bit of role play and go through these amongst the team. Hopefully this will answer a lot of what you have to ask, but we'll leave time afterwards as well if you have further questions. Nico, is there an option to study online?
Thanks, Tim. No, unfortunately, there isn't an option to study online. All the lessons are face-to-face. The only exception is for pre-sessional English program, where sometimes they are delivered online, but there isn't a pre-sessional English before the main intake, so that would be before the September intake. So yes, no, we don't offer courses online. They're all face-to-face. Toby, can I apply if I have a study gap or a visa? If I had a visa refusal in the past?
All we ask is for yes, you can still apply, but what we ask is for full transparency. If there is a study gap, you need to put that down in a CV. And if there's a visa refusal, we want that transparency to know where it came from and whether you have any supporting information about that visa approval. Jake, can I apply if my grades are slightly lower than what is required?
Yes, you can. So you can apply for if your grades are slightly lower than what is required. If you have a look at the offer, the actual requirements of the thing, there's various different requirements of various different ways you can actually be eligible for the course you're applying for. So if you have a look at the requirements, there's a lot of other things that also cover you being eligible to apply. Dave, can I live anywhere in the UK?
No, unfortunately, you have to live within a distance of the university that is easily commuted. We recommend that all students live within Plymouth. You have to be able to attend classes between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. every day, face to face. So if you live outside of what we would just deem a commutable area, then we wouldn't be able to enrol you, I'm afraid. So you must live within a commutable distance, and really recommended that you live in Plymouth.
Great, thanks everyone. So over to you now if you have any other questions. In the meantime, I'll put our contact details there on the slide. If you get in touch with any of us, we can share Miranda's contact details with you as well. The image you can see there is of the British Firework Championships, which is just one of the many great events which happen in Plymouth. So over 2 evenings in the summer, there is a massive firework competition. Different companies turn up and show what they can do. That happens out at sea, and people gather, thousands of people gather up on the Hoe, the grass area that Toby showed you earlier on the virtual tour. One of the many great things you can experience if you come and visit us here. Okay, any final questions before we wrap up?
I'm just replying to Sunita on the chat, Tim.
Okay, so Sunita's question, what is the academic duration of the May 25 starters all the way through to graduation? So the Health and Human Sciences program is a 3-semester program. So if students start in May, they would study for 3 semesters and then actually have a 1-semester gap before progressing to the university's degree program the following September. So 15, 16 months after they start at UPIC, they would start on the university's 3-year degree program. So the total duration would just be just over 4.5 years, will be around 4.5 years from joining, from arriving in Plymouth to graduation from the university. Is medium of instruction letter accepted? No, not at the moment. We're currently looking at approving some Indian institutions for medium of instruction, but essentially our requirement is IELTS or an equivalent English test. Are the tuition fees for a May Start Foundation the same as for the September intake? That's a really good point, actually, Sunita. So they are the same as the previous September's fee, but they will be lower than the following September's fee. So anyone who starts in May 25 will pay a slightly lower fee than starting in September 25. Our fees go up each year in September. They will go up, but only by a little bit this year. We try to keep the fees reined in. We don't like big fee increases, so there will be a fee increase in September, but a small one. But by coming in May, you can avoid that fee increase.
The other thing I was thinking of mentioning, Tim, is the differences between you coming in May compared to September is your students would have a whole semester off, essentially. So if your student starts in May, they would be finishing their 3-semester program in April 2026, which would mean that they wouldn't return to their first year until that September. So they'd have some time off. If they started in September, the maximum amount of time off will be about 3 to 4 weeks. So it's just something else you wanted to consider.
Thanks, Toby. Yeah, Sunita, as Nico has confirmed, the visa similarly would be for the entire duration of the program. So it's a single visa. Any other questions? Okay, we'll wrap it up there then. Thank you. It's great to have so many of you join us this morning. lots of people on the call, so that's really great to see. I'll thank my colleagues as well for their inputs. Thank you, Miranda, for taking us through the School of Health Professions programs. And thank you to all of my UPIC colleagues. I'll try not to leave anyone out, but thank you, Nico, Jake, Dave, Toby. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody thanked appropriately. So, yep, thank you everybody for attending. As I said at the start, we've been recording the session. So as soon as I have that link to the recording, I will share it with you, and we'll also post it on our YouTube channel. So thanks again, and goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your day. And we very much look forward to receiving your students' applications. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.